Hey everybody, I wanted to try an experiment with you today. I want you to imagine for a moment some of the hardest things you've ever had to go through or deal with. I mean, we've all got them in our lives. And I want you to imagine that, I'm there with you in that moment that you're dealing with this issue. And after telling me that, I walk over to you and I say, don't worry, I'll pray for you. You feel it getting better already? When someone says, well, I'll pray for you, does it work? No. Do you feel better? And more importantly, does anything actually get better? No? It's because it's BS. Now, I'm not trying to knock religion in general. Not even everybody that prays. I just been hearing it a lot lately, and I want to address the people who seem to only pray. They pray for everything. I mean, keep in mind, if you're the sort that prays, but you still donate your time and your money, your efforts, your emotions, and so many other ways, you're not the person I'm talking about. Prayer as a form of meditation, prayer as a way to steel your resolve, put on your spiritual armor before you go do the thing. I'm totally down with that. I understand that, because at least something's still getting done. But the culture seems to have shifted in the religious world, and there's lots of debate about where it started, but it happened nonetheless. These sort of hollow promises, I think, are the result of decades of praying for answers that never come, praying for solutions instead of ever actually working towards any of them. The problem I see here is that now prayer as the action has become acceptable. Now remember that prayer is to starving children as funerals are for the dead. And when a person prays for you, I think they're doing one of three things. The first one is, they're asking for help that genuinely exceeds their ability. They don't have the money, they don't have the time, they don't have the space, they don't have the spare bedroom, they don't have enough help from other people or something. So they pray that by some miracle, somebody else will come along and help out. The other thing that I think they're doing is they're asking the highest authority that they know of in the universe to somehow alter or change their very carefully laid plans that have been in place for millennia, apparently. And then the third one, which seems to be the one that I am most familiar with anyway, is the one that says, Dear God, I'm really busy this week. I've got bridge, I've got church 3 times a week, I just can't make it. Could you please motivate somebody else? Anybody. I'll do better next time. Oh, and please forgive me for this time. I don't need 2 of those 3. And that's why I'm folding my sister's laundry right now. You see, the folks who can do, but only pray, thinking it'll do some good in this world, are sanctimonious pricks. The pastors who drive pimped out Humvees past all the homeless in their neighborhood, they have effectively put themselves on the cross. And guys like me need the lumber. When you pray for somebody, it should be because you've already done all that you can within reason for that person. Even if it's making a phone call, folding laundry. You shouldn't pray for somebody because you don't really feel like doing anything. Now, I talked about being homeless before. I want you to know that a lot of people prayed for me when I was homeless, but it was the ones who actually did something that made the difference, and myself included. I had to wake the hell up. A lot of people prayed for my sister these last 30 years. And the good and stable times that she had were not because of the prayers, but because of all the hands that helped keep her on the straight and narrow. So, I have a sister, 30-year-old sister. She is mentally disabled and mentally ill. She suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and psychotic delusions. Even when she is stabilized, she is really good at making bad choices, like letting a meth head into her life over and over again. After every time I kicked him out, he came back. She let him in, even after he took to beating her and stealing her rent. And now she's homeless. At the time of writing this video, I have no idea where she's at. She's out there somewhere on the streets, probably walking down your street. And if not her, then any one of the 61 million mentally ill people in the United States today, wandering our cities like zombies. The police, I can't blame the police too much because they're little more than lifeguards for them, and the jails are just revolving doors. Roughly 50% of inmates in prison suffer from mental illness and not getting treatment for it, eventually being released worse. Those were the numbers in 2006. Do you think they got better? Mental illness is linked to the most heinous crimes we're dealing with and constantly talking about in the United States. So child molestation, rape, domestic violence, mass shootings, all of it has something to do with mental illness. It may not always be the root cause, but mental illness is in there somewhere. It is a linking element in all of those crimes. Nobody's talking about it. But there's nowhere for them to go. In the 1960s, the average stay in a mental health facility was 364 days. Today, it's 4 to 48 hours. And treatment hasn't gotten so awesome. And that's what really gets stuck in my craw. Are the people who say they'll help me with their prayers, but not with their vote, not with their voice. The only voice they're using is to entreat their God. And moreover, a lot of the time, these are the folks who are complaining that we don't have enough jobs in America. We're not innovating enough. We need to get people back to work. Well, you know what? We got a national problem. There's a national solution right there. That's why I started a petition on the We the People WhiteHouse.gov website, because we need more mental health facilities and services in the United States. So you can look it up. I'll put a link down below. Reopen facilities, refund programs, thin out the prison population a little bit, and actually have a meaningful impact on crime. We need to send a message to Congress that on a long enough timeline, there are no walls, no fences, no security forces, nothing that will be able to protect them or us from the rising tide of crazy that is sweeping across our country. Prayer doesn't cure crazy. Prayer doesn't feed starving kids in Africa. Hands and minds do. People going out and taking care of the problem, taking it head on, leaning into their fears. I think about my sister, because I watched her grow up, and the hands that we had in our family weren't enough for that problem. And I think to myself, where were those hands 5 years ago? Where were those extra hands that we needed 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 25 years ago? Maybe that's what the phrase really means. That idle hands are the devil's instruments. If you have a friend or a family member who suffers from mental illness, and you're at the end of your rope, remember that first that it's not your fault. It's an illness. And it is hard. It can drive you crazy too. I know I'm almost there. You needn't be embarrassed or shy about it either, because you need help for them. That's why I'm doing this video. Because what the hell else am I going to do? Vote? You have a voice too. But first, you need a little bit of comfort. So go to a website for the National Association for Mental Institutions, NAMI. I'll include a link down below in the wordy bits. They host meetings for family members who have mentally ill people in their families and try to put together the resources for everyone. Also, go and get a copy of Dr. Xavier Amador's book, I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help. The book is about understanding a little more about what's going on in your family member's head and how to deal with it and how to get them to agree to treatment. But the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Trust me. I never backed down from defending my sisters when we were kids. And I'm not going to start now. As for you, I don't mind if you pray for me. But is that all you're going to do?